Hey guys, welcome to the Vault. We're back with some more exclusive content. We're here to preview something really cool, really exciting. Hope you guys enjoy. Pierre, take it away.
Man, these have been a long time in the making. I don't know how long, but because of the detail and how much work went into these, it did take a while to get these things made. And listen, I think I don't know about you guys, but this to me was a fantastic thing to kind of work through together. We're all huge baseball fans. And what we did here was really put together a generational legends team. So these are the folks that we grew up just really loving and enjoying watching playing the game. Just incredible players. And these came out really well. So we got a chance to work with Big Jack on this set. This was while Big Jack was still the head designer over at LIDS. Britton popped into one of our sessions as well as we were ideating. So it was a really fantastic process, but man, I'm really happy with how they came out. We got a chance to see the samples, but it's much different when you get the actual hats in hand. And we have all of them here, and we're going to go through them. In two cases, I will have to show a sample hat because mine didn't come in yet of the actual hat. So, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. Yep. So are you guys ready to get started here?
I'm very excited.
Let's do it. All right, first up is the Randy Johnson. So this hat commemorates the perfect game Randy Johnson threw on May 8th, 2004. As you can see right there, that date is embroidered in the undervisor. And if you look inside too, the other detail is you've got that jersey in the buckram. So you've got those two details, but I think the most fantastic detail of them all is this. So you've got this beautiful side patch that LIDS helped create for us. It's approved by Major League Baseball and will only be used in this generational legend set. So I don't know, man. This is just amazing stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but Randy Johnson to me was one of the best.
Big unit was definitely dominant. When he left Seattle, he almost had like a revitalization in Arizona. He was really good. Instrumental
World Series. In Seattle, his earlier career he didn't have much control, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as he kind of moved through, he became a control power pitcher, which was a huge transition because he certainly wasn't known as that as a young player. All right, now moving on to Jason Mead's favorite team and one of his favorite players of all time, Chipper Jones. So this hat commemorates his first home run at Shea Stadium. So, Jason, you want to talk a little bit about this one?
Yeah. So this was during his rookie year, and when he was considered a rookie by Major League Baseball standards, and it was the first year in many years that he absolutely owned the Mets. So yeah, we wanted to commemorate his first home run of many at Shea Stadium. In fact, he loved playing there so much he even named one of his daughters Shea. So Chipper Jones would ask the Mets all the time, "Who's your daddy?" And we got the answer.
Yeah, great hat, great player, right? A fantastic third baseman. Now, Jason, I know the second Atlanta Brave is another one of your favorites. So you want to talk a little bit about this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he was pivotal in that mid '90s Braves rotation, the anchor, if you will, and he pitched lights out in that complete Game 1 World Series in 1995. Set the tone for the Braves to capture their only World Series of that roster. Should have been many more, but
of course, yeah. I mean, they were loaded, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They had Maddux, they had Glavine, they had a young Steve Avery, right? At one point, Smoltz. I mean, come on, man, they were loaded. Yeah. But what a big year '95 was for the Braves, right? You had Maddux leading them to a World Series. You had Chipper Jones starting his Atlanta Braves career while I was graduating high school, and I think you might have been too, right, Jason?
Starting my senior year.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to everyone's favorite Iron Man. This has got to be one of my favorites. It's got to be.
I think he's holding that hat in the picture right there.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So 2,131 consecutive games. I don't know if that'll ever be broken. Probably not.
I mean, Lou Gehrig's the only one that's ever gotten close.
Yeah, probably not.
I
The
think
way
next highest
there's
was like,
load management and whatnot in sports
yeah.
now, I'd have a hard time believing that'll ever happen. But you got the date right there. Look at that Orioles jersey in the inside.
Mhm.
This thing, killer.
I mean,
this is one of my favorites. Where you say, Jason?
They sit if they get a blister. So
No, I know.
I mean, it's probably smart. I mean, it wasn't smart for Cal Ripken to play that many games in a row.
There were quite a few games where he shouldn't have played.
Right.
Now we're going to move on to my Red Sox. We're going to start right here.
I'm sure you could talk a lot about this one, Pierre.
Listen, I could talk all day about this one. I won't. But on the brink of destruction, right? On the brink of destruction, down 3-0. This was a key turning point in that series where David Ortiz walked off with a home run to make it 3-1 Yankees, ultimately catapulting them to a ALCS win and to their first World Series championship. A monumental moment from my favorite player of all time, David Ortiz. And this thing came out beautiful. Yankee fans, I know the Yankee fans are going to have a hard time not buying this one.
Yeah. Would you say this is one of the most clutch moments of his career?
Well, the series he did it again though.
Yeah.
He did it again. I think in the next game, I believe he did it again.
It's just such a momentum shift, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Clutch player, man. There weren't many like him. So next up, I have to show a sample here, but one of my favorite players as a youngster growing up was Roger Clemens, the Rocket. On April 29th, 1986, he accumulated 20 strikeouts. This guy was tremendous. Tremendous. This is Roger Clemens right here. A guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, all these steroid guys at this point should be put in. You don't know who was doing it, who wasn't at this point. So, I mean, how can you ignore a career like this?
You just have to assume they all were.
What's that?
You just have to assume they all were from that era.
Oh, for sure. Now, this was probably the best pitching performance I've ever watched, and he did give up a run. It was a home run to Chili Davis. But Pedro Martinez, all 165 pounds of him, absolutely mowed down Yankee after Yankee, a dominant Yankee lineup that went on to win the World Series that year. But Pedro, man, he just owned them. He owned them back then. And this game was monumental. This is the Pedro Martinez commemorating that September 10th, 1999 gem against the New York Yankees. And Pedro is my second favorite baseball player of all time. All right. Moving along here, guys. Next up, we've got everybody's favorite catcher / second baseman / center fielder / everything, Craig Biggio. One of the most underrated stars in baseball. This commemorates his 3,000th hit on June 28th, 2007. Any thoughts on Biggio, fellas?
No, it's just 3,000 hits. That's probably something we're not going to see a lot of anymore either.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, right in the heart of that Killer Bees lineup. Him, Biggio, Berkman,
Biggio, Berkman, and Bagwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer lineup.
This one looks good, right? With the star on the front and the star on the side. This is another one of my favorites aesthetically. Okay. Some say Randy Johnson. Others say Clayton Kershaw. This was a fitting legend to leverage for the LA Dodgers.
The first of two current players that you had to be really good to be a current player and get a hat. It's a great game. One of the most strikeouts for a no-hitter. I think only Nolan Ryan and then later Max Scherzer beat it, but 15K no-hitter.
This guy's just lights out. Lights out. So that's the LA Dodger in the pack. Now we're going to move on to Vlad Guerrero. So Vlad not only was he a power hitter that could hit just about anything, including if you bounce the ball at the plate, also had one of the strongest throwing arms in the history of the game. Leon, you want to talk a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so this was an away game, an inter-Canada game. This was at the Sky Dome at the time.
Yeah.
And he just threw a dart from right field, gunned the runner at home, and we wanted to commemorate that moment for Vlad Sr.
Just when you say 5-tool player, Vlad Guerrero's got to be at the top of that list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably a 6-tool player, right? Because he could also hit balls that were bouncing.
That's true.
He
could play cricket if he wanted to.
That's right. The 6th tool would be cricket. But this one aesthetically, I don't know about you guys, this is also another one of my favorites.
Definitely.
It came out beautiful. All right. Now we're going to move on to the New York Mets. Mike Piazza. Leon, you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Yeah, so this was the day he passed Carlton Fisk for the most home runs by a catcher. He went on to hit more, obviously, but Mike Piazza, most home runs by a catcher, a record that still stands to this day.
This guy was something else, man.
Is there many power catchers in the game anymore?
The next closest would be Salvador Perez, but I don't think he's going to catch
him. He's what, 86 years old?
You have to be to get those numbers.
Yeah.
So here I'm going to have to show another sample, guys. This one pains me to show. Derek Jeter. This was his little introduction as Mr. November. Leon, do you want to talk a little bit about Derek Jeter so I don't have to?
Yes, Derek Jeter ends up hitting a home run as the clock struck midnight in extra innings, giving him the nickname Mr. November. Mr. October is obviously already taken, Reggie Jackson, so he became affectionately known as Mr. November. So the game started on Halloween night. By the time the game ended, it was already November 1st. So Mr. November, the legend of Mr. November, was born.
That sucks to get a cool nickname during a series you lose.
That's true. All right, you ready for the next New York Yankee? The first of 2 A-Rod caps. So this one commemorates his 600th home run. And look.
Ooh.
Beautiful, right? I mean, as much as I hate the Yankees, man, they have a nice, clean-looking caps.
Mm-hmm.
That's the A-Rod, the first of 2. And here's the second A-Rod cap. This one is from 4/26/2005. And Leon, what does that commemorate?
10 RBIs in one game.
Jeez. It's a lot of RBIs in one game. Omar Vizquel didn't get that in 7 months.
I was going to say, that's some guys' careers.
I know. Beautiful hat, though. So that's the second of the A-Rods. Now, my favorite Yankee of all time, the only Yankee I don't despise, to be honest with you, is Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera, an absolute class act. My favorite Yankee of all time. And here's his cap commemorating his 602nd save. Happened on September 19th, 2011. Got that jersey in there. Another beauty. The Mariano Rivera. The best closer of all time. I don't think that's debatable.
We should have done to commemorate his 50,000th swing and miss on his cutter.
He was so dominant, and he had one pitch. Realistically, he had one pitch.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Next up, everyone's favorite speedster. Now, this guy has records that will never be broken. The game has changed so much at this point. They'll never be broken, but this one is a beauty. So this is Jason, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah. So this is when he passed Lou Brock for the career stolen base record. 939. I remember watching this on TV. He got up, picked up the bag, immediately. I don't even know if he's put it down yet. Just absolutely. I mean, as soon as he got on, you knew he was going to be a second. It didn't matter. Like, you could try and pick him off. You could do pitch outs, whatever. He was going to beat the throw to second base, and just an absolute incredible base runner. And now there are. I don't even know if there's teams in the league anymore that get as many stolen bases in a year as he would.
No way. There aren't
Nope.
any. No.
Nope. So the game has changed so much.
It's become this this thing that statistically they don't find it valuable anymore, so no one does it.
Right. I was watching the postseason this year, and I actually saw a pitcher make a move to first base, and I'm like, why? He's not going to run. So like, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, this started a string of May 1st that was legendary for Rickey Henderson. So the next year he got his 1,000th stolen base, and then the year after he got the career hits for Oakland Athletics. So May 1st, Rickey Henderson Day.
All right, next up,
Doc.
Leon, talk about Doc. I know he's one of your favorites.
Yeah. So Roy Halladay, unfortunately, didn't get to play in the playoffs with the Toronto Blue Jays. We ended up trading him to the Phillies. He ended up getting a perfect game earlier in the season, and in his first career start, he threw a playoff no-hitter. I think the only blemish on this start was, I think, like a fifth inning walk. One of the most legendary playoff debuts ever for a player. So, Roy Halladay, no-hitter.
Nice clean hat too, right? And look at this, man. This is
That's ridiculous.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're moving on to San Diego. This guy, now, one of the most legendary matchups is probably Greg Maddux versus Tony Gwynn, right? I mean, those two guys, I mean, insane. And they face each other quite often. But this is an absolutely beautiful hat. Tony Gwynn was the preeminent contact hitter of his time. Him and Wade Boggs used to battle, Wade Boggs being in the American League and Tony Gwynn being in the National League. But, you know, even me being a Red Sox fan, I have to admit Tony Gwynn was the better hitter of the two. But this hat commemorates that 3,000th hit on August 6th, 1999.
Dude, you could throw a B at home plate, and that guy could still hit it.
Well, this is the thing, though. This guy never swung and missed either, right? I mean,
I know, like,
insane. Like, you could not get this guy could not be struck out. Yeah, and he's one of the few deceased players in our set, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also have Roy Halladay.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a beauty. All right. We talked about Mariano Rivera a little earlier. Another closer that was dominant in our era is Trevor Hoffman. So Trevor Hoffman, he got his 479th save on September 24th, 2006.
Do you guys remember who he passed?
I was going to say Lee Smith.
Lee
right?
Smith.
Lee Smith, yes, sir.
Lee Smith, the ex-Cardinal and Red Sox, right?
The Spaceman.
The Spaceman.
I
Isn't that
remember
his
Lee
nickname?
Smith.
That was Bill Lee. That was Bill Lee.
Okay.
I remember Lee Smith as a Cub, but that's mostly probably from my baseball card collecting days.
No, it might be. He's probably was he a Cardinal? I know he was on the Red Sox for a while, but I think he was a Cardinal too, right? No?
Yeah, it was Cardinal towards the end, I think.
And then Hoffman passed Lee Smith, but Bill Lee, he was a wild Red Sox player, and his nickname was the Spaceman.
Mixing them up.
Yeah. Beautiful. This is a nice, clean one. I actually, of the two hats, aesthetically, I actually like this one better than the Gwynn, but both are fantastic. Okay. Oh, man. This is one monumental moment we're about to dude, to be intentionally walked with the bases loaded. There's so many things you could select for Barry Bonds, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing that signifies his dominance more than anything else is he was intentionally walked with the bases loaded on May 28th, 1998. I want to tell you, like, have you guys ever seen a bigger sort of sign that someone's dominant than that?
No,
I can't think of one.
You're giving up 1 run versus 4. It's a smart move. Like, because at that point in his career, he was hitting a home run like every 8 at bats. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
And
is
talk about a guy that didn't swing and miss.
No, you're right. And even his contact, right? So, like,
Yes.
even if he didn't hit a home run, I mean, he was going to hit something hard somewhere. So,
Yeah.
they just said, you know what? Forget it. We're going to walk you.
his-
That is, but listen, man, you got to admit that's insane, right? That's unheard of.
Yeah, steroids are not. Steroids doesn't help your eye recognizing a strike versus a ball. And he was one of the best in the game at doing that.
And this is a beautiful hat, right?
Yeah. I mean, the umpires would call balls or strikes based on whether he swung or not.
What a cool way to commemorate some of these players, though, man. I love how these came out. All right. Moving on to St. Louis. Leon, you want to talk about this one? Oh, this one's so nice looking, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's the other, I guess, current player, but he's recently retired. So Albert Pujols, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs in the World Series Game 3. Cardinals just shredded them. Went on to win.
They won so badly that I have a hard time remembering who they even played. It was the Rangers, right?
Yes, it was the Rangers.
Fall Classic.
Yep. They have a beautiful World Series side patch for that year, too.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting close to the end, guys. We only got 4 more hats left, but you talk about complete catchers, right? Pudge was certainly on that list. This guy was incredible. So he had 9 RBIs on April 13th, 1999. One of his most famous performances, right? You got the date right there. You got that Texas on the inside. Look at this. Looks good in red, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one of the few guys that could actually throw out Rickey Henderson.
Oh, God, this guy had a cannon. People would not run on this guy.
No.
They would not. And he would throw people out with ease from his knees, which is just insane.
And throwing back to first base, too.
Oh, yeah.
Got so many guys doing that. Just
oh, my God. You never knew, man.
Yeah. Blink of an eye, that ball was down there. It's crazy.
Just this guy, you know, Piazza hit more home runs, right? But if I had to put my money on who was the better catcher of that generation, it was Pudge.
If I'm drafting a catcher, I'm drafting this guy.
Yep. Agreed. He was on some monumental lineups too with like Juan Gonzalez, and he played with Rafael Palmeiro for a while. I mean, they had some loaded lineup. A-Rod, yep. Loaded lineups. I mean, these were like, I think of Cleveland and Texas as some of those loaded lineups back then that didn't have any pitching, so to speak, but certainly had some offenses. All right, now. Oh, we're going Frank Thomas. All right. Frank Thomas. Now, when you think about gigantic players, this guy was a tight end at Auburn, right? A tight end at Auburn. Gigantic. What is he? 6'5", probably weighed 300 pounds, right? This guy was a perennial 300 hitter, 35, 40 home runs, driving 120 year in, year out. This guy, the Big Hurt, was just amazing. And this commemorates his first home run at Comiskey Park on April 22nd, 1991. Thoughts on Big Hurt, guys?
Multi-sport athlete, just, you know, a stellar rock in that lineup. Played for them forever until he couldn't. Just a great player.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Most of his career, the White Sox were pretty terrible, except for him.
Except in 2005, right?
In 2005,
yeah. But that was towards the tail end of his career.
I think they had to leave him off the roster, but I think he still got his ring, but he didn't make the final roster.
Imagine if this guy was in a loaded lineup like those ones we were just talking about in Texas or Cleveland, like what the numbers
he actually had protection behind him.
100%, Jason. The guy had no protection. He was still banging out home runs like that. I mean, it was insane. Like this guy, he was one of the not just power hitters. You take that out of the equation, right? That was one of the best hitters in baseball throughout his career. His career average was well over 300. His on-base percentage is probably approaching 380, 390 for his career, I would imagine. Now we're going to end this collection with probably, in my opinion, it may be debatable to you guys, but probably the best player of my generation, and that's Ken Griffey Jr., the Willie Mays of our generation. This thing, beautiful. He made his Major League. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I was just gonna. You could make arguments for there might be some better players out there, but he was by far the most dynamic. No link to steroids whatsoever. Just natural baseball talent.
And he captured like the youth differently than a lot of these other players. Like this guy was fun to watch, hat backwards, blowing bubbles. Like, you know, he had that Willie Mays sort of like flair to him, and people like it was youthful, man, and it was fun. And, you know, I remember having the 1989 Upper Deck card, trying to find that when I finally found it. And I still have that to this day, just because, like, you know, it was like the iconic Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. But gosh, man, look at this. This thing is beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's what made me fall in love with the Block S.
Another one of those, another one of my favorites from this pack. And we're going to end with this hat. I think what a good way to end this, right? Because I think, like, when you think about baseball in general, right? Baseball is so important because, you know, it links fathers and sons in a lot of cases. And in this case, in a very special way. Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 500th home run on Father's Day. And you know, listen, I don't know what you guys thought about the moment. I think it's an amazing moment, but this thing just came out really, really well.
Mm-hmm. And those Griffies probably have another record that will never be beaten. They hit back-to-back home runs, right?
They did.
Yeah, father
One
son.
of the few fathers, maybe the only father son that play on the same team at the same time.
Yeah, like that. That feat will probably never be broken.
Well, it's going to take a father with longevity and a kid that's a rising star, really young at a really young age. You know, I mean,
yeah. I mean, the next father son duo to do it is probably going to be LeBron and Bronny.
Well, listen, that's the set, guys. I mean, we got through that in about a half an hour, but man, such amazing detail. I want to thank LIDS for the opportunity to do this, because this was fun, because it got us talking about baseball, and even just now talking about it and remembering like the big games, the big players, all that stuff. It's just fantastic. I love the game of baseball, and I think these came out great, man. What do you guys think?
I'm excited to finally have them out there and see them out in the wild. We've seen them a little bit in Canada, but for everyone else to get a chance to get them, I'm super pumped.
Yeah.
No, it was just fun working with Big Jack to figure out what players we wanted to do. We kind of drafted a team at first, and you know, move some players around and to fill out a entire roster. And honestly, I kind of forgot about them since then. And then here they were popping up. So it's nice to see them out live, and can't wait for you guys to get them in your hands.
Yeah, and I certainly do want to call out Munfu. So Munfu was part of the introductory process, so I certainly wouldn't feel right not bringing his name up. While he wasn't there throughout the entire process, he certainly was there at the inception when we were having the conversation with Big Jack. So I do want to also thank Munfu for his input early on in the process. But again, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this. This was fantastic. I can't wait to hear what people think about the hats when they get them in hand. With that, Leon, big fella, take us away.
Yeah, let us know which of these hats are you're looking most forward to adding to your collection. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Viewsfromthevault.com to get your official merch from us. For Jason, Leon, and Pierre, we're signing out, guys. Stay fitted.
See you, everybody.
Peace.
Brought to you by VFTV.